Namaste, Pranam, Gita Dhyana. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatva manusandadhami Bhagvad Gite Bhavadveshinim. O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Arjuna. The ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O goddess, showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters. O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Krishna Vandana. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki, O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the 15th Adhyaya of Puruṣottamam Yoga, and Sri Krishna has beautifully explained to us about the threefold nature of that ultimate self, of that supreme self. How that supreme self, having projected the Prakriti, the portion of that gets embodied. Just to enjoy what this Prakriti is, just to enjoy this play of that puruṣottamam. And to us that Paramapurusha, that puruṣottama appears as two. Appears as two in the form of perishable and imperishable. In the form of Kshara and Akshara. And Sri Krishna had told us earlier that the sarvabhāvena, all the beings in this creation, they fall into this category of perishable. Right from creation itself, the creation itself is perishable. The beings in the creation are perishable. And that's why Sri Krishna had told this Purusha appears in two forms. That it appears as Kshara and Akshara. The sarvabhūtanam is Kshara aspect. Sarvabhūtanam is Kshara aspect in a sense. They are all perishable. Anything connected with this Prakriti is perishable, and therefore it is Kshara. But the indweller in this Prakriti, which has to take up a body, which has to take up certain, the body or the vehicle for that matter, to enjoy, to experience what is there in this Prakriti, what is there in this samsara. And having enjoyed, having experienced all these things, when the realization comes that, my God, what I was thinking enjoyment is not an enjoyment, it is nothing but the source of pain and misery and sorrow and grief. When that realization comes that nothing is permanent in this creation as such, nothing is permanent in this samsara, everything is just fleeting, then that realization comes. Who is that which is the permanently Akshara, which doesn't have to depend on any of these facets of the Prakriti, which doesn't have to depend, which is beyond the grasp of Prakriti even. And when that curiosity dawns, then the rush towards that ultimate knowledge, it starts. Then there is that the journey towards the enlightenment, towards the illumination becomes, towards the liberation becomes, starts. And then comes the realization, he is the ultimate one. I am part of his, and like a fool, I have been wasting all this. I had been caught in this, the spiral of time-space causation. I had been foolishly caught, and I was away from my original source. I was away from my original ultimate abode, the Paramadhama. And then that Akshara portion, the Jivatman, who is nothing but a part and parcel of the Paramatman, starts rushing towards the Paramatman and merges into one. So this is how Sri Krishna has taught us that this is how the puruṣottamam, the supreme of all, which is much beyond the Kshara facet of the Brahman, the perishable aspect of the Brahman, and far superior even to the Akshara facet of the Brahman, the Jivatman. He is the ultimate. He doesn't need to get experience of anything. He is the experience in himself. He is the existence in himself. He is the knowledge in himself. He is the bliss in himself. That fellow, the Puruṣottama, doesn't need anything. And therefore Sri Krishna told us in the last verse, 18th verse that we read, that Yasmat ksharamati toham aksharaadapi chottamaha atosmi loke vedecha pratitaha puruṣottamaha. And that's why this me, the ultimate self, this me, the supreme most self, which is beyond the perishable aspect of the Brahman. Yasmat ksharam atitaha, which is beyond the kshara, and also aksharat api cha uttamaha. Aksharat api cha uttamaha is even superior, far superior to the Jivatman. Don't think Jivatman is the end and completion of the journey. Jivatman is not the completion of the journey. Jivatman is just a middle phase which has come down from that Paramatman. So Sri Krishna says that this my real nature is not only much beyond the perishable aspect, but much superior, much above, much at a higher level than even the Akshara aspect of Jivatman. And ataha asmi loke vedecha pratitaha puruṣottamaha. And therefore in this world, in this creation, in this in the Vedas, which is the ultimate knowledge, I am known as per the ultimate knowledge, I am known as the Puruṣottama, which is far beyond any of these, the play of Prakriti, or even the entrapment, the entanglement of the Jivatma in this perishable body, and then looking for an avenue, looking for a vehicle which will ultimately take it back, which will help him take it back. The vehicle won't take back, vehicle has to be dropped. But the vehicle which will help the Jivatman back towards its ultimate destination. So this is how Sri Krishna has beautifully explained to us what is this Prakriti, what is Jivatman, and what is Paramatman. What is the Puruṣottama. Now Sri Krishna says, Yo māmevamasammūḍho jānāti puruṣottamam sarvavidbhajati sarvabhāvena bhārata. O Bharata, O greatest among the Bharat clan. That is what Arjuna is. Now Sri Krishna is telling him the ultimate secret. He says, Yaha māmevamasammūḍho jānāti puruṣottamam. Yaha asammūḍha. Those who are undeluded, asammūḍha, whose doubts are cleared, whose vision is perfectly clear as far as understanding of this differentiation between the Prakriti and Jivatma and the Paramatma. He says, those undeluded ones, those from whose mind this entire doubt has been cleared. There is no more delusion, there is no more confusion on this aspect. What is the Prakriti? What is the Jivatma? What is the Puruṣottama? Those yaha asammūḍha māmeva jānāti puruṣottamam. Those undeluded ones who finally know me only to be the Supreme Self, the highest Self. What happens to them? Sarvavidbhajati sarvabhāvena. Oh Bharata, those undeluded ones who ultimately get this realization that I am that Supreme Self, that Puruṣottama, the Paramatman, is the last stage on this journey. Those who understand this, they know all. He knows all. That spiritual aspirant, Saha Sarvavid, knows all. He doesn't need to study any of the other subjects then. He doesn't need to study mathematics, physics, biology, chemistry and all those science subjects, or even among the art subjects, the philosophy, psychology, political science, nothing, or even the commerce subjects, accountancy and bookkeeping, nothing, nothing is required. That fellow with total delusion uprooted. The delusion is totally vanished now. That delusion, the confusion is all gone. That person who realizes what is the Supreme Self. Who is the Supreme Self? With that knowledge, he is filled. That person, that spiritual aspirant is the knower of all. He is the knower of all. And what he does then? Then, bhajati sarvabhāvena. Then he starts worshipping me with all the devotion, with all the all his heart, with his each and everything he devotes to me, whatever he has. And that's what Sri Krishna says. This is how ultimately, that is, the aspirant, the spiritual aspirant, gets into the position of total sharanagati, total surrender. And then that, with that complete knowledge, the devotion blooms. That he becomes single-pointedly devoted to the Lord. So Sri Krishna has earlier also told us about that single-pointed devotion. And Sri Krishna says that single-pointed devotion comes the moment he gets that jnana, gets that knowledge that I am the ultimate. I am the Puruṣottama. I am the Supreme Self. So this is what happens to the aspirants who know what is the ultimate reality, who get that enlightenment, who get that illumination, who get that ultimate knowledge. Ultimately, they end up being totally devoted to the Lord, being totally devoted to that Puruṣottama. And that Puruṣottama is not the God or the goddess that we normally worship in our Dvaitic mood, in the dualistic mood that we worship. That Lord, that Puruṣottama, that Paramatman is even beyond the deities, even beyond the chosen ideal, even beyond the gods and goddesses that are worshipped in a Dvaitic mode. He who undeluded knows me as the highest. He knows all, O Bharata, and he worships me with all his heart. He worships me with full devotion. So this is what now Sri Krishna has told us in the 19th Shloka. And this is how actually the journey of the Jivatman towards the Paramatman becomes, completes. This is how the journey of Jivatman to Paramatman completes, using the Kshara body as the vehicle. And then the Jivatman gets that realization. This is not where I belong to. This Prakriti is all a mirage for me. This Prakriti is all a fleeting object for me. I have got nothing to do with it. My origin is there. And the moment Jivatman realizes its origin is there somewhere else, in that Purushottama, in that Paramatman, then that is the ultimate knowledge. And once that ultimate knowledge gets firm in his understanding, once he gains that ultimate knowledge, that aspirant, that jnani becomes a bhakta then. The jnani who has been contemplating on who am I, who am I, who am I, when he gets this answer, who am I, then that jnana, that knowledge, that width gets transformed into total surrender, total bhakti, and then bhajati mam sarvabhāvena. With everything, with all his heart, with all his dedication, with all his devotion, the aspirant starts worshipping the Puruṣottamam. There is only one reality. The deluded one sees plurality and not unity. When we are under that delusion, when we are start enjoying, so-called enjoying our existence in this prakriti, my family, my friends, my social circle, my social media, till the time we have ignorance, we are enjoying all this, we are experiencing all this. But the moment that delusion wipes out, the moment that ignorance vanishes, the moment knowledge dawns, we start seeing the ephemeral nature of these fleeting things. Then we start realizing this is all temporary. This world, this the sansara, this creation as such, the prakriti, everything is fleeting, continuously changing. I am not in that same shape even for a moment. Moment after moment, I am constantly changing. There is a change in me. There is change in everything around me. Then what is that permanent? I am not the part of that permanent. I cannot be part of this temporary thing, this fleeting thing. I cannot be part of it. And when that knowledge dawns, that is the end of the journey then. Then one starts yearning for becoming one with the Puruṣottama, with the Paramatman, with the Parabrahman. As sadhaka advances in spiritual discipline, he realizes divinity permeating the entire universe of plurality. To us ordinary beings, yes, everything is in a plural. I mean, every form is different from another. Every being is different from another. There is so much of diversity in this creation that the Lord has created. But we only look at the diversity. We only look at the plurality of this creation. We never ever bother to think about that unifying factor, that single entity which is holding all this creation together under the diverse circumstances, under the diverse elements. Under all that diversity, there is one unity. All these different beads in the necklace, they are held together by that one thread. And we see, looking at the beads, we start praising what a beautiful necklace it is. We never bother about the unifying thread which is keeping that necklace in shape. The moment the thread breaks, all the beads are gone. Then there is nothing. So the sadhaka, as the spiritual aspirant starts progressing on the path, then that the attraction towards, then that understanding of that plurality just vanishes, and then dawns the realization of that uniform tattva, that yes, there is one single entity behind all this, which is changeless. Unlike these beads, they can get scattered anytime. But that one reality is changeless. There is no, change as a mutation in that. There is no mutation in that. It is permanent. It is forever. It is ever existence. It is absolute existence. His devotion to the Maker is then on increase. The Maker. Then that devotion starts increasing. The moment this knowledge dawns, and then therefore Sri Krishna says, then he gets devoted to me with all his heart, mind and spirit as if it is. With everything that he possesses, he just becomes devoted to that ultimate puruṣottamam. The blessed privilege of the Jivatman is to be a dedicated instrument in the hands of the Lord and just terminate the delusion of his individualized existence. The Jivatman's journey is going to, the focus of the journey of the Jivatman is becoming one with the Paramatman. And while this vehicle of different bodies are used, it depends on that tendency which the body feels is looking towards plurality. When that looking towards plurality comes to an end, then Jivatman is in a fully blissful mode. That now is the end of my journey. Now I cannot see two different things. Even if appearance-wise they look different, now the Jivatman knows that, yes, they are my own. What is there in me? To whom I belong? The same one. These also belong. These are also different temporary aspects of that permanent thing. These are all the Kshara facets of that Akshara being. And then the real journey starts. Then there is no more transmigration. There is no more getting trapped into the cycle of birth and death and birth and death. And then that the steamer, which is going from the river, then it merges into the ocean. And this is what the example that Sri Ramakrishna is also going to tell us about today at the end of the Shloka. Now here there is one more example by which this particular phenomena can be explained. Like the we take a pot. We take a pot, put it in a bucket of water. Now there is a water inside the pot also, and there is outside the pot also. Till the time pot is there, we can claim that, okay, there is a water in the pot. Although the pot is immersed in the bucket, there is water in the pot, there is water outside the pot in the bucket. And then just take a hammer, if it happens to be earthen pot, you just tap it, break the pot. What happens? There is no more water in the pot. That water which was there in the pot is all merged, become one with the water in the bucket. Now, can you differentiate? Can we identify this water was in the pot, this water was originally in the bucket? Now, where is that water? All water is gone. The same example like the ghatakasha, the air in the pot. When we keep a pot, earthen pot here, there is space outside, there is akasha outside. There is also akasha inside the pot, which is termed by our scriptures as ghatakasha. That ghatakasha, you just break the ghata, you just break that pot. Where is that ghatakasha? There is no ghatakasha. We can never even imagine there to be something like ghatakasha. That all akasha, all the air, all the space within that confined pot, the moment pot breaks, what happens? It just becomes one with that vast, the infinite space that is surrounding this, that is covering this entire creation. And exactly the same phenomena, the same reality rather. Then it is not a phenomena, it is a reality then. The moment the body crumbles, then that Jivatman once sets free. If there are no desires attained in that body at the time of the death, at the time of leaving the Jivatman from this body, then the Jivatman become just one with the Paramatman. Like the Akasha in the Ghata, the moment the Ghata breaks, that Akasha is no more distinct then. It is all one vast the sphere of the space. Unlimited, unending, without any beginning, without any end. So this is what exactly happens in the case of the Jivatman and the Paramatman also. The goal in life of Jivatman is to make himself over to Paramatman. Yes, that is the ultimate objective of all of us. The Prakriti aspect in him is surrendered to Ishvara or the Saguna Brahman. Every Jivatman embedded in the body, while being in this prison, every Jivatman, it carries that Prakriti element with it in the form of the body. That is associated with the Saguna Brahman, the Brahman with form. What the Akshara Purusha that Sri Krishna told us in that Shloka, that there are two types of Purusha, Akshara and Akshara. So this Akshara Purusha, the Jivatman in the body, is surrendered to the Saguna Brahman, the Ishvara, the deity. The Purusha aspect in him merges in Nirguna Brahman. And when the Ghata is broken, that Jivatman, without any tent of desires, just rushes towards the Nirguna Brahman and merges in it. Then there is no dichotomy of Saguna Brahma, Nirguna Brahma. There is only Nirguna Brahma. There is no Sakara Brahma, there is no Nirakara Brahma, there is only Nirakara Brahma. The formless entity, the entity without any attributes, the entity without any name and form. So that is how the journey begins towards the Paramatman. Now, I was telling you about the example that Sri Ramakrishna is going to give us at the end of this shloka. Sri Ramakrishna says, when the steamer on the Ganges touches the sea, it sails to yonder regions. Say, for example, we are standing on the banks of Ganges and we are seeing a steamer with some people on it. It is just going towards some destination. We don't know which is that destination. We only see the steamer going on the water of Ganges, merging into the ocean, into that Bay of Bengal. And when the steamer on the Ganges touches the sea, it sails to the yonder regions unknown to people this side. We don't know where it is heading for. What is the destination? Even so, when the Jivatman merges in Brahman, he does not return to the relative existence then. And then when the Jivatman merges in the Paramatman, when the Ghata is broken and that Ghatakasha becomes one with the Akasha, then it doesn't return. It is a one-way ticket then. We don't know where it has merged. And then it also loses its entity as Jivatman. It also loses its entity as that middle level Akshara Purusha. Because the Puruṣottama is way superior to even this Akshara Purusha. Of course, the Puruṣottama is very much superior to the Akshara Purusha. But much superior even to the Akshara Purusha, the level of Jivatman, the plane of Jivatman. So this is how the journey takes place from the becoming Jivatman, becoming associated with the Prakriti, and then getting liberated, getting merging back into our Paramadhama, into our original abode, the Puruṣottama, the Paramatman, the Parabrahman. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Ma. Jai Swamiji.